Hey guys, Black here again. Next part of this build is going to be getting underway. We are going to tackle finally this weapon arm. Now this is a grenade launcher. Pretty straightforward. Just lobs fragmentation grenades over obstacles, over other units, or just pops them straight into people. Use more of kind of a crowd control effect, not necessarily to kill stuff, but to zone somebody in the game. In fluff terms, it's used for about the same purposes. It's not really used as an immediate offensive weapon. There are things specifically designed for that nature. So there's definitely some better alternatives. So first, start with our gray, which is the gunmetal one. This is the darker of the two, and I want to get the entire thing covered in this color. And then we're going to do highlighting, of course. This is pretty much the same way as a pickaxe is going to look. I'm going to do highlighting, of course, with the concrete looking gray, and then a little bit, very little battle damage on it. So we're just going to jump right into this. Grab a good sufficient amount of gray on here. And I'm going to water it down slightly because I want this stuff to get everywhere. Just going to drop it on. Making sure it gets everywhere, making sure this stuff gets definitely everywhere. Because after we got this all down, we're going to come back in and weather it up still. So, not too big of a worry if it gets absolutely everywhere. More towards the point I'm hoping it does. Grabbing the magazine. And this color for me, it's actually quite beneficial to really water it down because the coverage is pretty outstanding when I do. And I'm just gonna get that in the frame. And I found the trick to controlling this autofocus is to staying actually at the same height or consistency of angle. It's a little bit difficult for me, but nothing too challenging. So we're just going to go everywhere with this gray color. Just putting it down everywhere. So we got a nice even coat of coverage, I could say better. If I can get you in there, you bastard. There we are. It's got some sort of piston back here. Being a steampunk thing, you could even wager that's probably a piston that's used to power the weapon. Traditional grenade launchers are powered by, for the most part, a blasting charge that's at the back of the round. Like a traditional firearms round, it acts in that sort of way, which is to the umpteenth degree, essentially. So I got that all down there now. Gonna wait for it to dry, and while we're waiting, I'm gonna close my window because somebody somewhere better be dying for all that to be coming through. Probably should have done that in the beginning of the video, but oh well. So the next thing we can do while that's sitting there drying, paying careful attention not to touch it, is to touch up this back end, this fuel tank, as it were. I think I'm settled on calling it a fuel tank because that's what it looks like. I mean, it very well could be, I don't know, where you keep the freaking, you know, the Mountain Dew or something, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a fuel tank. It looks more like a fuel tank to me. So I'm just going to cap this real fast, drag out the silver, and here's what we're going to do. Grab this without touching it, of course. And real easily, just going to touch this end, because it could be much sharper than that. And then just do the other side as well, because it's not as even as I would like. It's definitely got the correct texture. It looks like metal. It doesn't look like It doesn't look like a painted on, you know, sort of meshy color. It looks like a good solid iron. I'm just going to get in there and fix this rim. And that looks pretty spot on there. I do have a spot, a piece on the inside here that should be silver that I have missed. Now I've gotten it. I might have to go over that with gray again, but that's okay. And that should be it for the engine. Got one spot underneath here that I need to touch real lightly. Just there. Fix this bolt because this bolt looks a little subpar. Yeah. Nice and sharp. I just touched the gray. I did just in fact touch the gray. Oh well. I'm just going to water down. Kind of cut that piece off there so I can come back and fill it in later. No big deal. And that looks all spot for the silver. Yep. Okay. So what we need to do next, while the gray is continuing to dry, is do this part of, there's a vent underneath the right arm that's got the mattock, or that big big pickaxe, and that's a gold color or bronze color. We need to get onto that right now. Before we do, I'm going to grab a little spot of this gunmetal real fast and fix that edge I just touched real quick. Be careful not to touch it again. And there we go. No problem at all. I'm going to correct something on this pickaxe real fast. There's a little bit too much highlight on here. There we go. Go ahead and rinse the brush and open up this bronze. I like to call it a bronze. I think it even is labeled as a gold, but I think it's the closest thing I have to a bronze anyway, so I kind of refer to it most of the time as such. So now you can see this vent here just barely. Flip this thing upside down. It's that black part that's still exposed there. Now it is representation of this kind of vent here, just top here. And I mean, I don't necessarily know, to be honest, what you would describe it as, because I mean, it could be called like an exhaust, but I'm not sure why it would be beneficial to make an exhaust out of copper or bronze. Copper. But I mean, and it doesn't have any bearing in game terms, of course. I'm spitballing here for the fluff reasons. So, I mean, I guess it's just to add a different color on the model. I mean, you could very well paint them up the silver color. That might actually look kind of cool. I might even think about doing that later on a different model. But I mean, for the most part, I think I even have a picture here somewhere, yeah. For the most part, those vents are always painted a gold color. You can see them just there. This is on the Firefly. It's got a couple on the front of the head as well. And then if I go over to the Sentinel is the exact same representation. It's got these gold up here. These are slightly more worn in this one especially. And I actually tried to emulate that look on mine. He's in a box right now, but I would show you if he wasn't. So some things to do while we're waiting. I'm gonna take the rest of these beads here off, put them back in the bag before I spill them everywhere, and then go looking for them, and then find that they're all over the floor. And that's no bueno. That is no bueno indeed. And if I can manage not to spill any right now, that'd be wonderful. This is why you do something with a towel in your lap, so you can kind of do all of the effort and the work that you're participating in, and stuff like this. You can do it over your lap, so everything falls in this towel that I have here. You don't have to worry about loose ends everywhere when you put down paint, you know, or setting something down, or if you wash something, like you put that black wash over it, you can put it on your lap and just kind of set it there. I would have a bunch of paper towels out normally, but I have kind of have very little desk space because of the camera setup. This is pretty much right here. this right here that you're seeing is half the frame, but this is actually from here over a third of my desk that I can't use because it's got the camera set up. And then this side over here to the right, or it's looking up towards you, this is all got the rest of the work on it. We have all the paints right here, and then we have my cup of water and stuff. So I do have a little bit less of a desirable sort of setup here, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I wish I could put paper towel and stuff down so I could do some of this stuff, especially for the basing, because the basing came out looking like ass. for perfectly frank, it's just like you really should do that over paper towel. I wanted to kind of squeeze that in there though and have a good time with that and do it, you know, whenever the heck I wanted. And right then was the moment that I specifically wanted to, so we just kind of did it, and it turned out just fine. I mean, look at it, have a go at it. The base looks just like the other bases. I mean, as soon as we painted up the blue colors to designate the arcs, it'll look the exact same thing, or it'll look like the exact same thing. So I suppose since we're waiting for that to dry, we can start doing new stuff. Now, what we're gonna do next is highlighting, and I'm gonna do for the next 4 minutes, because I only have 4 minutes to do this and I can't get all the highlighting done. I'm gonna do a run through of what that is. So what we have is the base coat of blue, which is this color, down on the model. So we got that blue down. We want to really exaggerate these bullet points and these bolts and all these doodads that are here on the model. If I get my brush out, point to them, you know what we're talking about. So we've got here is, if you will focus camera, give it a second. No, yeah, okay. So we've got these rivet sort of deals here, these bumps, and then we have these leading edges of the shoulder pads, and then we have these bolts here that are emulating the same thing that's on the top here. We have these here, and we have these rivets, and of course we have these leading edges as well on these. Oops. Get to the frame this way. There we go. We have this leading edge here, and then all these edges that are on the model, on the legs, all these edges are going to need to be sharper looking. And then the head, of course, also, it's got a nice big chrome dome on here, right here. We're going to need to really exaggerate those. And so what we're going to do for that is highlighting, and what you do for highlighting is very simple. Take two colors, so we got the base coat color, you start with your base coat color, and then you start with, after that, after you got the base coat, you go with the lighter color. So we got this lighter blue. Let me get this up here. You got this lighter blue. In comparison to this blue, it's maybe 2 shades lighter on the color, on this color spectrum. You have this, which is like 8 shades lighter. This teal color, or this whatever this is called, this is the light blue. But you have these two colors here. What you do is you mix them together in a 1:1 ratio. So 1 drop of each of these together, or 1 brushful if you're like me. You just mix them together, and then that's what your highlight color is. You would take your highlight color then after that, and you would drop it on each of these edges, all of these top bullet points, anything that light's going to hit. So imagine if the model is sitting like this. So the model is sitting like this on the table. If light is coming down, I can move this here, make a better example. So light is coming down from your light source in the room. Or in real life, if this was a real machine, it would be coming down from the sun, straight down. So the light's going to be hitting everything that's on the top of this model, and every point on the legs and on the gun that's hitting, or that's actually angled towards the sun. So all that stuff is going to need to be brighter than the rest of the model, which is, you know, where you get the term highlighting. Things that have to be lighter. So we're going to be doing that in the next video, and by the time we're done with drying this, we'll be able to start that as well, or get into the more detailed parts of the weapon arm right there, the grenade launcher as well. So this has been the Tech Marine, Black Templar on A4. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Cheers.